Off. Welcome today to our Copilot Agents and AI Services webinar. Hopefully, we've got some cool content in place for you. It's going to be kind of jam-packed. Today, you've got with myself, Jermaine Clark, Sales Manager here at Sherweb, and I lead the Modern Work, Dynamics, and AI teams. And with me is Mike Davies, who works on our Copilot AI as well, but specializes along the Microsoft 365 security. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, year and change later, we're doing all of these Copilot content cases, and we're ending up with more and more things that Microsoft's kind of giving us an opportunity to expand on what we're doing. So good news for today. So hopefully, most likely, we'll get through everything on the agenda today. We've got, we're going to kind of set the stage with a little bit of what are our Copilot agents, what kind of use cases we're going to see. We're going to follow along with how to kind of get started with your Copilot agents, because I'm sure if you're here, you've heard something about Copilot agents or agents in general, or the agentic AI. And if you've read any of the current Microsoft publications around what's happening in this technology space, you'll be hearing a lot about being an agent leader or an agent manager coming up in the kind of the frontier company. So let's see what we're going to get out of that. And then with that, we'll kind of give you a roll-up of a roadmap to building a Copilot practice. For those of you that may have attended one of our master classes, we're taking some of that content out of there and trying to compress it into a short webinar today. So hopefully we'll be able to deliver that message on point. A little bit of housekeeping. We've got a lot of stuff in today's in the content for today. It's a lot of conversation. We're squeezing stuff in. But even with that, we want you to be interactive and try to participate in the webinar. Ask some questions. We'll send you the slides for sure after the recording of the webinar, so you'll have access to that for those of you who signed up but couldn't attend, and for those of you want to watch it a second time or share it with your teams. And then we'll submit all of the resources that we have in the deck are all clickable links, so you'll be able to connect with that resource list after the webinar as well in our follow-up email. So yeah, throw stuff in the Q&A and let's make this an active session today. Yeah. With that, I'll turn it over to Mike.
Perfect. Thank you, Jermaine. So as promised, we're going to be talking a lot about Copilot agents, how you can leverage them with your business, as well as put them forward to your customers. I want to start with a poll question to get a sense of the audience who's leveraged AI agents at this point. So if we could get the first poll out, have you already built a Copilot agent? Be great to see a bit of results of that, and I'll keep it going here. For those that are familiar with Microsoft 365 and the Copilot for M365, it is your personal assistant. It is helping you with your productivity in your day, you and you alone, helping you prepare for your meetings. It is a one-to-one session in which you interact with your tailored, unique instance of Copilot. Whereas agents, on the other hand, are going to be more one-to-many. They're going to be used to automate tasks and repeatable processes, and they can be either connected and managed by a person, or they can be autonomous, which we'll get into, which is the really exciting, almost future world state of autonomous AI bots performing tasks for you, which is pretty cool. And agents can be created using Copilot Studio or Agent Builder. So Copilot Studio is the backbone, the configuration tool to build out agents, but agents can be utilized and interfaced through the kind of typical methods that you would interact with Copilot for Microsoft 365. So that's kind of the difference between the two of them. I get that question quite a bit of what constitutes an agent, when do I use them? Uh, there is a lot of opportunity for MSPs, and that's really the reason why we wanted to host this session and really focus on agents. Is this is the ability to not just sell the $30 a month per user license to your customers and then walk away. You've got them to the point where they're ready for Copilot, you sell them the licenses, and then that's the end of it. Agents is the answer to how do I build value? How do I build something unique for my customers? And how do I, as an IT professional, deliver that on a consistent basis? Building custom agents and then being able to apply templates or export that agent from your tenant and apply it somewhere else is a really great way for you to develop a service and an offering around AI that makes your business unique. The way that you're going to do it is going to be of tremendous value to your customers rather than just selling a license and then allowing them to go about their day not really engaged in the AI process with your customer anymore after you've sold the Copilot for 365 licenses. There are some really great templates that already exist within Copilot Studio that are aligned to either industry or job function. So you can get some of those templates as a starting point, whether that's an HR bot or a customer service bot. So there are some really great templated ones that you can work off of as an MSP and help kind of easily deploy these at your customers. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. I want to start off by showing you just how easy it is to build an agent, because one of the things I always get is this is going to be extremely difficult. This is not for end users. There is kind of two options for building agents. There is Agent Builder, which is the simplified version of building a Copilot agent. And then there's Copilot Studio, which has more layers of complexity, more feature-rich environment for you to configure and customize an agent. But I want to show you the easy button first for building agents. We'll start that video now.
All right, excellent. How many people, if you could throw a show of hands up or any of that, have seen that agent builder video before, or something close to it? Yeah, we've got a few people. Okay, good. So that's the easy button that Mike was talking about in terms of that's built pre-configured so that you have an opportunity to go ahead and from a simple source of data, create an agent that does something for you in a single kind of search retrieval mode or one of those. Right?
Yeah, yeah. I build agents for my individual use cases that don't necessarily need to reference back to a SharePoint site. So individuals can create them. I have one that creates my LinkedIn social media content for me based on the events that I'm attending. Those are things that you can you can create as an individual that are really simple. They don't necessarily even need the full Copilot for Microsoft 365 license to create. And that's, you can still create it with the Copilot chat availability, but it will only be grounded in web data or generative responses. So it's not going to be able to do things like go reference your OneDrive or SharePoint environment. Now, we've got here kind of the complexity of agents that you can get through. So retrieval is going to be the most simple type of agent. You can see from the video a use case of the going back for a field agent and grabbing information from SharePoint. So whether that's an HR bot that goes in and retrieves information from your HR policy documents or something along those lines, that's kind of an agent at its simplest, helping you find information faster, summarize what's already been done and what exists within your environment. And this is really easy, very simple way to allow people to be more effective at finding information within your organization. Moving up the stack with a little more complexity is allowing the AI to go out and perform an action. So whether that's automating a workflow, but this is all triggered by a person asking it to perform a task. So it still requires that human intervention to go out and complete said task. And then the most advanced is going to be autonomous. This is where you set up the guardrails initially, and you provide it with the triggers that it's looking for within your environment to take that action. And it will go ahead and perform these actions without the requirement for somebody to be involved or initiate the process. So we're going to dive in a little deeper into each of these so you get a better understanding of the complexity of them. But this is really where you've got the ability to define where agents are used. We see this really extending Copilot beyond just the ability to summarize emails or get meeting notes instantly as you come out of a meeting, which are all great features and help you with your productivity, save you time every day. But this is where you get to take it from I'm saving time to now I'm scaling my business with the use of AI. This is where I'm able to help my customers grow, increase revenues, not just save the owner an hour a week because he didn't have to read through as many emails with the summary function. With that, I want to launch our second poll question. We see a lot of use cases across departments, across industries. From your understanding of agents and your experience with them so far, we'd like to hear, where do you see agents adding the most value from a departmental or job function standpoint? So this is one that might be a little case dependent, but I see customer service out to an early lead there as the number one way to do this. It's pretty good use case from a customer service standpoint to be able to not have to deal with as many tickets as deal with as many customer requests. I know we've seen, Jermaine, we've seen a ton of people or a ton of partners leveraging this even on the back end to help their service desks better answer questions and better answer tickets.
To be fair, I didn't think I would see this kind of a spread between IT related and HR. That's, typically we see HR as one of the primo examples coming out of kind of the Microsoft discussions and some of the other discussions that we have. But from an IT perspective, I mean, realistically, this is probably the first time I've seen IT ahead of HR in terms of utilization of agents, which is good news because everything you could do with HR is already kind of pre-built into your M365 Copilot, which means that agents now having the ability to go and apply and look for something, apply a fix, and make a change. I could see how that would push forward on the IT front, but sales and customer support still winning by a landslide.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of great solutions out there. You can see here that even IT help desk is seen as kind of one of the simpler uh, use cases, and customer support agents are then become much more complicated, where you've really got to be able to analyze tone, go out and identify issues, triage them to other agents. That's where it becomes really interesting, is when you start getting agents that interact with other agents. So purpose-built agents that now interact with each other. Jermaine, you mentioned being kind of a manager of AI agents as the kind of frontier organization. That's where we're seeing organizations as the kind of goal. I don't know how many we've seen that have gotten to that point where they're full AI managers yet. But
I've seen zero.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, including us, right?
Yeah, but that is the kind of road we can see ahead. Is that's where it's getting to, but not yet. There's still a lot of human interaction required with these agents for the most part. So to look in a little more detail, the retrieval agents, here's an example of going through one. It requires a trigger, and then it's got its instructions that it's going to go follow. So in this case, assist with an on-site repair visits, provide step-by-step instructions and knowledge. So it's going and grabbing an SOP information, providing that information to the user, and then it generates that response. So it goes and validates with a document in SharePoint, and then comes back with, here's your step-by-step information. So from a retrieval standpoint, that's kind of the process that the AI is going through to pull that information for you. At its kind of simplest, that's what a retrieval bot will do. And I think we've got a video of that here.
Yeah, so we'll kick that off. Just kind of showcase how simple it is, because especially when we think about where our data is, from an agent perspective, we saw us building a quick agent in Agent Builder, Copilot Studio. You tell it what you want. The agent then gets built in the background. In this particular case, this is going straight to the information that you want to build the agent about, and utilizing it in SharePoint without even having to look back at the console for agents. So let's see what that looks like. Now, I don't know if it'll contribute exactly like a teammate would, but in terms of ease of creating an agent from a list of files in SharePoint, from a retrieval perspective, that's how easy it is to do it, like straight out. And that's just with your M365 Copilot license and your data being in SharePoint.
Yeah, so it is a pretty simple use case there. The kind of next example that we've got is the next most complicated, which is task-oriented agents, in which it's going out and performing some type of automation for you. It's going out and performing a task. So in this case, when a request comes in from Microsoft Teams, the HR Copilot is going to answer common questions, and that's not just going and checking a HR manual or a static document. It's going into the extended tool sets that Copilot may have access to. So if you've connected an HR tool set as a connector or as a plugin within the Microsoft environment, it can go out and validate your vacation balance. So actually go check an external tool and then come back and provide that information back to the person that initiated that response. So it's going out and actually taking some action on behalf of that user, signing into a tool, checking the information, and then returning actual HR balances rather than for vacation balances, rather than the employee having to go figure it out and find out where to look. So
Yeah,
this
so
one's
I
a little
want
more
to hijack this one too a little bit, Mike,
yeah.
because one of the constant questions we get is, oh, my Copilot doesn't do this thing that Microsoft says it does. When will the feature be available? And if you were to today, like, just think about it you're on here with us, think about it for a second and be like, hey, I could actually answer that question with an agent that is built to look at the Microsoft release timeline that exists today for Copilot, for Business Premium, for pretty much any change of security or anything that's on the product roadmap for Microsoft. You can have an agent that looks at that, pick the thing that you're interested in, and have the agent, once a week say, here's what was new and actually became general availability today, or in the last week, or in the last 30 days. And that way, you're now utilizing the agent to grab a set of information from a website and provide you feedback, as opposed to you going and reading all the notifications from Microsoft or logging into the website in itself. So now you're bringing that information in the format that you wanted in a consistent basis so the agent does a task. That one I have built myself for updates that I'm looking for.
Yeah. And the most advanced is the autonomous agents. And this is still in preview. We're still getting towards this. This is almost launched. We know that Microsoft is targeting summertime, and we hope to see it sooner rather than later. But the idea of autonomous agents is really, really powerful. This is where it will begin to independently identify triggers and then start the automation of running processes. It's got the ability with the power of AI to reason over what it can do, and what it's looking to accomplish. And then you obviously have the guardrails that you can put in place. So a great one that we see from an autonomous standpoint would be the customer service agent. So when a ticket gets created, go through, provide a response, triage it appropriately, and then assign the least busy technical resource to it. So that's going and doing quite a bit. That service coordinator type role becomes something that an agent can perform quite a bit of. And that's really where we see the use cases expanding and exploding. And this is where, once you've got these autonomous agents in place, connected to the right data sources here, with the right triggers, you've got the ability to manage multiple agents, and it's a force multiplier for the person that is in charge of these autonomous agents. One of the examples, if we push forward there, is receiving an email as the trigger. and then providing it the instructions. You can see here that the instructions are a little more complicated. So asking it to analyze the incoming email and extract key client details from it, and then assess historical data. Like all of that becomes much more complicated from what you're asking it to do from an instruction standpoint, and making sure that it has access to the proper data, the right systems in place, and then generating a response. Looks simple from an output standpoint, but is a much more complicated process from the autonomous agent standpoint. Now, I think we've got.
So yeah, I'll roll forward and kind of show what it would look like from the Microsoft perspective. Yeah, so I think just kind of reframing that and just kind of looking at what the capabilities are. If you've got something that somebody's spending time doing today, in whichever department, part of their job is doing a repeatable task of, collecting requests from customers for hardware or change management, new license for onboarding or offboarding tickets. There's a series of things that an agent can be configured to do. tagging that email, which improves your customer support, time to response, time to activity, time to create the ticket, etc. So if you have a dispatcher today, you could take away all of the low-level things that dispatcher is doing by putting agents in place to support that. And then the dispatcher can deal with more customer service, direct conversations, other parts of their job that is not currently able to be automated. Right? It's kind of really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's really exciting. You can see there's a whole lot of options here. And one thing that I like to highlight is the ability to deploy these agents to the channels that make sense for your organization. So whether that's uh, only within Teams, or it gets deployed to a public website or as an application. You've got a lot of different options in how you can have those agents be deployed across your environment. So this is really where kind of uh, your AI transformation happens, is with agents. We've got the ability to empower users to be faster, help save them time, find more information quickly. Um, we've got the ability to help them modernize their processes and optimize the existing processes that they have with task-oriented agents. And then really with autonomous agents, you've got the ability to focus on the things that are of true value for that employee and offload the things that are the repeatable tasks that aren't necessary, that are vitally important, but aren't necessarily those exciting or fun or value adding activities that you'd want an employee to be focused on. So you've got a few different tool sets. So end users are going to be focused on Agent Builder. They're going to be able to build simple agents with simple instructions pointed to a knowledge source and be on their way. For the Copilot Studio, that's where there's going to need to be engagement from an IT service provider. This is not for end users to go and try and figure out in Copilot Studio what they want. And that's where you as the trusted advisor need to really understand your customer's business. And we're going to jump into kind of building a practice around that. So I know Jermaine's going to touch on that. And then going even further down the road for developers, leveraging AI with Azure as well. Now you've got a few pre-built, already existing agents that you can start with. I know both Jermaine and I are using the analyst functionality that's already pre-baked, agents that are already there. The researcher or visual creator are all agents that are pre-built. As you get a 365 Copilot license, you're going to have access to these agents and be able to leverage them. There are templates that exist within Copilot Studio to use and kind of use the structure that's already there. And then obviously you can build an agent from scratch, which is going to require the most amount of work, effort, and time for you to go through that process to really customize it. So that's all fits within the Copilot Studio realm. You find all of those within Copilot Studio as one platform for creating agents.
It's important to add to that the difference between your M365 Copilot license, which includes the capability for Agent Builder for end users, and some access to Copilot Studio, the platform that exists today, in terms of building cross-company agents that are doing tasks across multiple teams, where they are a one agent to many functionalities across different job functions within the same company or across multiple job functions. You use Copilot Studio license at the tenant level. So the M365 Copilot license, user-based, has Agent Builder, a small access to Copilot Studio platform, Copilot Studio tenant license, which is a license for the M365 tenant, which then does not require every user to have a Copilot M365 license. That's for the one-to-many replication, duplication across a wider group of people. Then in terms of access,
yeah, we've got the ability, as we mentioned, per user license to be the creator. So there is a no-cost license for those that need to create in Copilot Studio that needs to be assigned. That's always one. We get the tenant license, and that allows access, but you don't need everybody at an organization trying to create agents initially. So you can give the Copilot Studio user license, which is a no-cost license to individuals that are going to create and manage the agents. You can see end users don't need a license assigned to them to be able to leverage and utilize an agent. It will consume it either in a pay-as-you-go model or a consumption model. It won't necessarily, but you do not need to assign licensing to every individual user.
Awesome. Okay, so with that, we're going to kick it into you've got a good foundation now in understanding the different capabilities of agents, where the three kind of groupings of agents are currently aligned. And what we'd want to do now is, well, as an MSP, how do we want to turn this around and turn it into something that you can put into your current practice that's as a packaged offering that you can kind of turn over to your end customer, and then socialize into your space. So to kind of reframe and set your mindset around this, when we think about the services opportunity that you have, it falls into the today you're providing and have always been providing as an MSP guidance around how your end customers' technology change management has happened over the last 10 years or however long you've been operating. With Copilot, let's start with Copilot Chat because it's free. It's your online version on the web, not tied into your Microsoft Graph data internally, etc. When you think about Copilot Chat, from an advisory perspective, you want to expand on AI, get users using it, learning and training and understanding the process. When you think about how you're going to do that on the M365 Copilot side, you want them to build a strategy around how they're going to utilize that Copilot M365 in their Microsoft Graph, in their workload and tenant across their applications to build the best productivity value. You're going to move through those services opportunities and be able to, in the get ready mode, and help people to understand, well, what gaps do we have? And you've been talking to your customers about gaps for years. You know, your security, you don't have the right licensing for security. You're still on Windows 7 and Windows 11 has been out for 10 years. Please, let's fill that gap. You've got users that are working from anywhere with VPN. Let's cancel that and get them into the modern workplace. You've been providing this advice in this get ready mode. Now you have the carrot of M365 Copilot and AI to say, well, I'd love for you to get there. But when we think about your technical readiness today, the gaps that you have, you've got to change how you deal with data and how you assign accessibility to your teams, etc. When you get into the sales function, so now you've created information for them in both cases. You want to be able to go back and say, well, based on what we're doing, you've attended a webinar with us, Mr. Customer. You've done our information planning. You've gone ahead and reorganized your data and worked with our data governance. Now let's get this internally for you. Here's the kind of payouts you're going to get. From a reseller perspective, as yourself, when you think about the margins, the back-end incentives, there's a lot around AI, Copilot, and utilization for agents. When you have a call to action and you've developed a steering committee as the advisor to your end customer, you're now intertwining yourself into their annual planning. You want to be able to say every year, what has been the best utilization you've gotten out of your agents? What do we need to build for you next? How do we improve on the current agents that you have? You're putting yourself into the development practice for that end customer. And now you're creating more stickiness. But then they're also going to pay you to not only update and improve the agents that they have, but to now come up with new work cases that they'd want you to support with an agent, which gets you to your customizing your Copilot agents for them. Because the more you understand the business and the more you offer that information, the easier it will be for your customers to understand your process so that they can then take a look at what's happening internally at their business and provide you with more agents that they'd like you to customize for them.
Yeah, it's a lot more exciting for the customers to be talking to you about how to improve their business, their workflow, than talking about hardware lifecycle management, where you're feeding them a cost that they have to ingest just to keep their business running. This is exciting for them. You're gonna be much stickier, as Jermaine put it, when you're truly caring about saving them time, understanding their business better. This is really where we get to jump in as IT professionals and show our value.
So based on that and kind of based on that information sheet and how you can kind of deal with your entry level is your Copilot chat, free, no licenses required, offers the same as your online chat GPT or your Gemini. But once you're internal and you're an M365, you've got to define as the MSP what your offer is. We're offering an AI HR agent or customer service. It looks like everybody's going to build a customer support agent, is what it looks like from our earlier polls. But when you think about that, what's your offer? How are you going to operationalize it? How are you going to get that information to your end customer? And then based on that, how are you going to extend your service and support when you've deployed an agent? So let's take productivity as the example here, because security and infrastructure you've already dealt with. They've closed the gaps, they have the right computers, they've put their data in the right place, their users have conditional access policies, things like that in place. But now, how do we get the best benefit of what we're utilizing for the end customer? So from a productivity perspective, and let's take customer service support, IT support, building an agent that answers emails. You get requests on a daily basis for a new computer, or you get a request for some kind of procurement within the business, or for advice, or for a meeting from your most valuable client. Have an agent offering that allows your end customer to take that same agent, utilize it in their own email to monitor and react to the emails that they have. Build out an agent that's specialized for that industry and then spread that agent by scaling replication across that industry. And with that, when you have the offer, you want to make sure that you're looking at providing them a strategy for their business, an adoption plan for internal, reports, setting milestones with them on productivity so that they see the ROI within that time. So if you can offer that in a package, complete service package, now you can then go socialize that to your end customer base. And in terms of when you offer it, when you think about how are you going to figure out what an end customer wants? If you specialize in construction, you specialize in HR agencies, travel, whatever it is your kind of most prominent customer type is within your industry. You've got to understand what their workflow is in order to be able to not only mitigate risk for them, but to help to support them in providing more efficiencies for that workflow. Looking at where the low-hanging fruit is, where they have issues and challenges. So then you want to take that and create that agent and support, understand how that's going to affect that job function, and then give that feedback to the end customer. When you've taken that now, your agent's going to be that much more reliable and it's going to be that much more useful and impactful for the end customer. In your go-to-market now, you could have the cure for cancer. If you don't tell anybody about it, how are they going to know? And how are you going to be able to save those lives? Well, you can't. The same thing goes for any area of the functionality that you devise for your end customers. And you'll want to launch training sessions, showcase webinars on what's available, what can it do in your industry or in your job function. And then based on that, give them a showcase what your offering is and what your package is, because you have to get the word out to your end customers. You have to get it out to your customer base so that before they come to you today, most of the Copilot requests that we get is, my customer has asked me for this. As the MSP, as the trusted advisor, as the leading edge on the technology strategy, your company, you as an MSP, need to be able to say, we are doing this today. Customers, we're letting you know, we're putting you on notice. Here's what's available. Here's how we can help you. And that will turn this from a reactive to more of a proactive opportunity finding process for yourselves as an MSP. And then now that you've done the migration, you've integrated Copilot and AI into your end customer base, everybody's asking you to get your package for service delivery. Going forward, now that you've set everything up, what are you going to do next? You've got to figure out ways of how you're going to add additional value. Visibility, utilization, adoption scores and reporting, and then overall simplifying that complex technology. So as we did with every other version of Windows and on-prem to cloud, we're going to demystify it and add value to the end customer by simplifying. They get the benefits and utilization of the technology without needing to understand what's happening with the duct tape in the back end. So to kind of summarize that, and kind of bring us back to the position of, well, based on this, here's my customer journey. As a customer, I need help on my vision and value. I want to understand what my gaps are and how I can prepare for AI. I want to run a pilot program and have a few of my team, my super users, power users, whatever you want to call them today, run with the AI and really find those use cases. I need to adopt that and make sure that I'm getting usage, not turn it on and 6 months later, like, oh, we don't really use it. And then how do I extend it into specialized areas of my business as the customer? You as the partner are now advising on that vision and value and what they could be doing. You're ensuring that their readiness assessments, their security, their data governance, all of that's in place prior to turning on their AI. You're now responsible as the partner to deploy that solution for them and make sure that the adoption, change management, and training is happening for that end customer. And then you now then provide them on the agent side, because we're talking all about agents today. You need to get all through that so that you can get to the extensibility phase where you're like, okay, now I can build you this specialization because I understand your business. Everybody's been using it. Here's our top use cases. Here's what we can automate with an agent. And that kind of adds the value from you as the partner in that, driving that business case. And then in terms of the transformation of the business, when we kind of think through again, it's the same thing you've been doing with technology over the last however long, 15, 20, 35, 17 years in your MSP in your business. You're going to go back and build your pipeline, listen and consult with your partners and customers. You're going to showcase to them what's there so that they can see and become excited about AI and the agents and what it can do for them. Once you've got that deal in place, you can then help them to see the value and drive the utilization of the AI within their business. And then based on that, you can then get to the end where you're driving expansion. And you can claim throughout these process funds through Microsoft, NFR licenses once you have your solutions partner solutions designations, and look out for all the different benefits around reselling of the Copilot stack. Okay, I'm going to pause there. We've had some activity in our Q&A. Thank you for the people who've been participating. We're here for a few more minutes, and the floor is open for more questions, discussion for today. We've got is a Copilot training package available for customers to present? I'm not sure I'm clear on that question. What are we thinking there?
Not sure. Oh, for end user training. Do we have the ability to perform end user training? Trial to use. There is so that's from a Copilot Studio standpoint, there is a trial available for Copilot Studio that you can deploy for your customers. So this is something that you can test out. With the Copilot license for 365, there is not, but there is for Copilot Studio.
Yeah. If you do have your partner designation, though, you can claim, I think you get 3 to 5, depending on your level. In your designation, you can have 3 to 5 internal use licenses for Copilot, M365 Copilot. Studio is a 30-day trial, and it's you've got to obviously have had some experience with Studio if you're going to launch a trial and pump it out for your end customer. But you can do the trial yourselves today, internally as well, if you'd like.
I think we've got a QR code here for a survey. We've also got a poll question. Just if you want to learn more, let us know. We're happy to work with your account manager and set up some time to go through and understand your unique use cases for your customers to see where agents could fit, when it's going to be the right use case and when it's not.
Yeah, that's good, Mike. Thank you. There is one comment in here about the annual license commitment on Copilot. So there isn't a paid monthly yet. We expect that it'll show up at some point, and of course it'll be subject to the same, I don't know, what is it, 10 or 15% increase 20% increase on the month-to-month cost. But in the interim, you've got kind of 2 options that you can use right now to have a Copilot trial. Whatever your co-termination is in your tenant, wait until, I don't know, maybe 2 months or 3 months prior to your license renewal period and get your Copilot license, which is then, it's still annual paid monthly, but it will co-terminate with the total number of licenses in your tenant, which will be the 3 months that you're going to use in terms of doing that. And then option 2 is if you can host a Copilot webinar for 1 hour and get your company signed up for the CSP briefings, you can claim $1,500 from Microsoft or up to $1,000 through Co-op for running those CSP briefings on Copilot, which you can then turn the money around and use that to purchase the Copilot license or the Copilot Studio license for your tenant. So you've got some options there where you don't have to take it directly out of pocket, where Microsoft has put in place kind of rebates that you can collect in terms of using money to spend towards your Copilot license.
Yeah. We got another question here. Is Copilot Studio licensing going to come as part of the partner benefits? I have not heard that it's coming. I don't know if I've even heard anyone ask that yet. I'm sure that's something that we'll now add to our list of requests. We'll put it on our list of things we're asking Microsoft for.
Yeah, keeping in mind that Copilot Studio license, the actual license itself is $200 a month. So, and there's no annual on that license. Like you could pay month to month on the Copilot Studio license as well. So if you started a trial and you got the 30 days and then you wanted to pay for it for an additional month, you can purchase the Copilot Studio tenant license month to month on that one, at least in terms of using that. But keep in mind, if you purchase the Copilot M365 Copilot license, you still get quite a bit of Copilot Studio access and agent building capabilities.
Yeah. But
it's 1-to-1 per M365 license that you have. With that, we do provide some resources which we will send through with the deck in our follow-up email. We've got a few resources from Sherweb as well that exist today on looking at your AI adoption, sales cheat sheet, information you have. We've got an upcoming Copilot event. If you haven't been to one of our master classes, you really should try to get to one of those because we do all of this over a course of a day. There is a Microsoft-led Copilot event on June 26th at the Microsoft office in Ottawa. If you're available close by or otherwise, and you can make the date, starts at 9 a.m. on the 26th, ends at 3. So yeah, I mean, if there's stuff that's out there right now, and we'd love to be able to support you guys getting you forward with your knowledge on agents and Copilot. The master classes are usually published with a landing page. We send out mass emails letting people know when those master classes are. And your account managers as well will be able to give you information on any masterclass. Really, anybody you email at Sherweb and say you're looking for a masterclass on security or Copilot or Azure, you'll be able to, we'll send you the content links. You can also see these publications. Some of them come out in our monthly beamer that you will see in your Cumulus. All right, with that, I think we'll still hang around if there are any more questions, but thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah, thank you very much.